My name is Candice Cox with Chaos, and you are watching Studio Q.
Studio Q show, now you know.
Great day.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! I am so excited. You are like a celebrity to me. You are a superstar, super duper star. Out here healing folks.
Trying my best. We know wellness is dope. That's what it is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So let me get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Quencie Thomas. Thanks for joining my live today. I'm the host and founder of Studio Q. This is not only Memorial Day weekend, but today and tomorrow mark the final days of Mental Health Awareness Month. And I felt that it was so important before, closing out this month to check in with somebody who is amazing that I discovered on TikTok. Her name is Candice Cox. She's a therapist. I'm gonna introduce her, but I just want you to know how I discovered her. I was just scrolling on TikTok. You know how you see one video, then you just go down a rabbit hole. I'm just all on her page. I'm like, okay, so this is addressing this. I'm like, when you say, hey, you need a T-shirt that says, hey, because I feel like my name was Hey, because she was always talking to me, addressing something that I could use and apply to my life. So if you're not already following her, please do. It's at Candy Cox 220 on Instagram and TikTok. She's got a good word for everyone dealing with situations that cover a wide range of topics in life that we've all dealt with at some time or another. Candice is a licensed clinical social worker who is the founder and clinical director of A&A Inspirations and executive director of Chaos, Inc. She holds a BSW from Southwest Missouri State University and a master's from St. Louis University. She's a best-selling author, motivational speaker, therapist, trainer, consultant, and supervisor to the next generation of clinical professionals. She's also my TikTok therapist, if you didn't know. That's who I go to regularly. I check in on a regular, okay? Because she helps me to keep healing and overcoming struggles. Welcome to Studio Q, Candice. Thanks so much for agreeing on your Memorial Day weekend to do this interview with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Man, I'm like, because I think I discovered you in January. So it's been a long time coming for me. You just doing your thing, but I've been admiring your work and loving your healing videos that, they just address all kinds of issues that we all are suffering from, dealing with, getting through. And I love to first start off that society makes it very easy for us to address physical ailments. If we fall and break our arm, we being rushed to the hospital, and everybody in our community, at school, at church, they're concerned. But when it comes to mental health, we tend to ignore it, act like it doesn't happen, and you said that mental wellness is dope, which means it's done on purpose every day.
Yes.
And if you're not mentally well, you're mentally ill. So can you share what taking care of your mental health actually looks like? And when do we actually know when we're mentally ill?
So the way that I look at it with the chaos mindset is there's 4 areas: mental, physical, spiritual, and financial. So you have to look at your health across the board. And so I tell people to do an emotional inventory. Sit down and look at where am I mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially, and then flip the page. Where do I want to be? And if you're not where you want to be, then every day you need to be intentional. That's where that mental wellness is dope comes from, because it's done on purpose every day. You need to be intentional about your actions, intentional about what you are doing to be mentally well, what you're doing to be spiritually well, physically well, financially well. And am I doing things that are pushing me forward? That's the biggest thing, because a lot of times we are held emotionally hostage by the things that we've been through, and we're set in patterns. And so we keep doing what we've always done, and we're tired. We're agitated, we're depressed, we just kind of sludging our way along, but that's the way it's always been. So that's the way we think it's supposed to be. But we weren't put here to just survive. We have to be happy, healthy, and thriving. So when you're looking at being intentional, then you also have to pay attention to who and what you're giving your attention to on a daily basis. Because what you surround yourself with and what you tell yourself, that's what you operate off of. So I tell people all the time, what you tell yourself is your truth, but that don't mean that it's the truth. So you have to be knowledgeable about that. And look at how those things impact your attitude. And anything that you're doing, if it's not something that is pushing you forward, it must be something that's holding you stagnant or pulling you back. So you have to start removing those things and increasing the things that push you forward. But you got to be intentional about it.
Got to be intentional. Like, do you suggest like writing them things down with the inventory?
Yes. So, when you do your emotional inventory, get your piece of paper, write it down. Get 4 categories: mental, physical, spiritual, financial, and write those things down. And then when you look at where you actually are, and don't lie to yourself, because we good with lying to ourselves. But remember, what you tell yourself is the truth. So don't lie to yourself about what you're going through, and then you put it down, and then you flip it and you write where you want to be. And so therefore you also have, you got a starting point. You got a starting point and an ending point. So now all you got to do is do the work in the middle.
The hard part. The hard
part is the work in the middle, making them changes. Because I say all the time, I say patterns don't lie, people do. So,
don't be stealing my questions. Don't be stealing my questions. We ain't got there yet, Candice. Now, why do you feel that there's such a stigma surrounding mental health, especially in our community, in the Black community?
Well, you got to think about it. So I specialize in intergenerational and environmental trauma. And so when we look at the intergenerational trauma, it's the things that have happened throughout the lineage of our families that have been passed on to us. And so, you think all the way back to slavery. Like, slavery isn't our history, but it stopped our history. But it is a part of where we came from. And right. So all of those times you have, how we got the angry Black woman, how you have the strong Black man, those mentalities are in us because for so long we had our children were snatched from us and we couldn't cry about it. We just had to keep moving. Wives were taken out of beds with their husbands and raped, and they had to just act like nothing happened. Husbands were beaten and different things, and we just had to act like nothing happened, so all of those things, we had to internalize those things and keep on moving forward. And so now we've learned that that's just how it is. And so now, and so whenever somebody shows what people feel is a weakness, when we express our feelings, then, you using reverse psychology, girl, just pray about it. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Well, no, you can pray and have a therapist as well. It's absolutely okay. And it does. And just because you're dealing with depression, just because you're dealing with trauma, just because you're dealing with anxiety, it doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you, but it does mean that something happened to you along the way. So we as Black people have to be willing to unlearn the things that we were taught were right. And we can relearn new ways of doing things. There's nothing wrong with addressing your mental health. Like you said in the beginning, in regard to physical health. We know if my blood pressure high, I'm going to go see my doctor. You know what I'm saying? If my sugar high, I'm going to go see my doctor. If I'm having problems with my teeth, I'm going to go see my dentist. Yes. But if I'm so depressed I can't get myself out the bed, either I'm going to talk trash about myself or somebody going to talk trash about me. And that's not fair. That's not fair because your brain is actually what runs your body. So, a lot of us, especially in the Black community, we've just been surviving. So we've been running around, I say all the time, running around with a broken arm. Yeah, you can still manage with that broken arm, but I swear life would be better if you had 2 working ones.
Amen. And, do you feel like things have gotten better? Like in just the time that you've been working with people, do you think that the stigma is slowly leaving?
I think it is. I think it's slowly leaving. I think, thank God for these millennials, like they bringing it in. Millennials are like, no, self-care, baby. No, it's a full sentence. So I love it. And I think that with them being raised with understanding that mental wellness is important and mental health is important, as well as COVID knocked us all on our butts. And so COVID made everybody recognize that trauma is real, to recognize that anxiety and depression and things are real. And so I believe that, COVID really kind of snatched the wool off so everybody can see like, hey, I'm not in this by myself. Other people are dealing with this too. Whereas beforehand, people were dealing with it in their own personal silos. But when these schools started coming into these homes, they got to see what was really going on.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
or look, virtual school, virtual learning, seeing in the background.
Or the offices where somebody on customer service and there's something going on in the background. Like, we got a chance to really get a real lens on, wait a minute, everybody's suffering here because we all are dealing with something.
Mm-hmm. Now, we as just people in society, we talk to our friends about what's going on. We talk to our mother, our homeboy, our boyfriend, our husband. Can you tell me that that's all well and good, but at the end of the day, they can only listen, and like you said, they're gonna ride for you,
right?
Because they love you. So why is it important to really seek out an actual therapist instead? I do think Oprah talked about, she never had therapy and she had people listen, but why is it important for you to get a therapist? Because they actually have the tools to help you.
Yes, like believe me, I didn't go to school just to color by numbers. I swear I didn't. I learned something, and so like I say, when like it's the same with a doctor. You know what I mean? You can go. Grandmama got all these remedies that she's been working on forever. You can go to grandma pull some herbs, a little aloe vera on out, and she be like,
look,
okay,
Sal,
and so grandma could be like, you cool, but if your arm is broke, you're gonna need to go to a doctor to set that arm back in place. Yeah. Or you may need to go to physical therapy to make sure that you get all the strength back in that arm. You can get all the use back, and it's not just a makeshift thing. So it's important. It's good to have you a good support system. Have you some good girlfriends. Have you your good bro you talk to. Go talk to your bae. That's good. But they can only give you so much. They can help you purge, but you still need somebody to help you process and work through. That's what you need. You need somebody to help you see the aha moment and then help you replace those things, those patterns, because we operate 90% from our subconscious and 10% from our conscious. So therefore, you need somebody to help you pinpoint, okay, this is what I do in this situation. This is what it feels like. This is what it looks like. And now these are alternatives that I can do in this place. Because you tell your girlfriend there's something going on, she get mad too. She ready to ride out with you and both of y'all in jail.
And look, and you done added to your problem.
Right now y'all sitting there like, nah, I lost my job. I got a record and everything. And I can't go there no more. I can't even go to the place I was at no more.
Right. Exactly. And you had mentioned earlier about, asking like what happened to you. Oprah just co-authored a book where it's actually titled what happened to you, because people ask what's wrong with you. You know what I mean? And refer to maybe like damaged goods. And why is it so important for us to reframe that, and say what happened versus what's wrong?
Because if you ask somebody what's wrong, they may not know. Like, I can't give you the language, but I don't know what's wrong. But something is wrong. But if you can pinpoint and say, when did it start? What happened to you? Then you can say, well, when this happened, then I started feeling this way. So you can put something with it, and there's a tangible place that you can touch and say, okay, I can see where this came from. Now, how do I get back to that? But I always tell people, you can't go back. You can create a new normal. You know what I'm saying? But you can't go back. But at least I got a starting point to see. And then what's wrong with you just sounds so mean. What's wrong with you? Well, I don't know. But I can tell you what happened to me.
Right.
And this is what, when I walked into this room, my stomach got tight and my chest got tight, and I didn't feel good. I wanted to snap out on people. Well, then that's what happened when I came into this space. I can tell you that I was triggered when I walked in here, opposed to me telling you, oh, girl, I got a headache. My stomach hurt. Well, okay. You need some Alka-Seltzer.
Let me give you some I got some ibuprofen.
Right, girl, what you gotta do? So there's the difference. You want to be able to tell where's the root of it, where did it come from? Yeah. So then you can know where to address things. Like I say all the time, we can't heal the things that we refuse to acknowledge. Yeah. So you gotta acknowledge that something is there.
Oh yeah. Now, in one of your TikTok videos, you said that you had a mirror moment. You looked in the mirror and you were like, why are my eyes so sad? How long have I been walking around looking like this? Can you tell me, like, just talk to us a moment about the insight that you came to when you finally realized you walking around like a zombie, and
Yes.
can you help other people deal with their mirror moments?
Yes. So, one of the trauma responses is freeze. And so freeze is when you kind of go on autopilot. You completely disconnect emotionally from things, and you kind of just going through your day. You like waking up to go to sleep. And so, at that moment, my son was probably about 4 months old. I had a 4-month-old baby. I had moved from Arkansas back to St. Louis, and I was working at a job that had bars on the window. I felt like I was going to jail every day. I hated it. I had gained like 70 pounds, you know what I'm saying? So my body felt like a bag of mashed potatoes. I just wasn't happy in my body. And and I was married at the time, and me and my husband were more like roommates than we were like husband and wife. And so I was just literally waking up to go to sleep. I was going through the motions. And so, one day when I was brushing my teeth, I looked and my eyes looked so sad. And it's like, that's being intentional. I intentionally looked at myself. Because how often do we go in the mirror and we really don't look? We look over, but we don't look at, you know? And so I did that, and it hit me. And I was like, Candice, you're not happy. You're not happy. And so at this point, this is when I wrote this skill out. That's one of the chaos skills, which is raw, realize, admit, and work through. And so this is my emotional inventory moment. I sat down, I got a piece of paper, and I wrote the RAW. And my realize was, Candice, you're not happy. And so I wasn't operating from a place of balance. And then my admit, I had to admit what I was doing to keep me in that place. Because you can't change people. You can only change yourself, the level of access you give them to you, and how you react to what they do. So I had to look and see what I was doing in regard to myself mentally. Candice, are you taking time for yourself? What's going on? And I realized that I was not involved in my life. It was just happening. You know what I'm saying? And then I looked at my physical. I was like, you just coming home and you come upstairs in your room, you make sure the kids had ate and had a bath, and then you in your room all day and ain't doing nothing. Make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? But you upset because you overweight. But what you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at myself spiritually, and I'm like, how much time do I spend with me? How much time do I sit and talk to God? How much time do I really write out what I want? Do I speak those things into existence? How often do I do it? And I realized I was saying more negative things than I was saying positive. And what you speak, you have. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then that financial, I'm looking and I'm mad at my ex-husband because of what's going on there. But I'm like, what am I doing? If I don't like my job, go somewhere else. That ain't the only place in the place to work. But I decided to start my own. But it's like, I had to really look at what was happening. And then that work, that's when you flip that paper and you write what you want. That work was every day I had to work toward increasing those assets, those goods I had going on, and getting those liabilities either off the page or turning them into assets. So I had to do the work, because happiness, peace, and healing, they are inside jobs. Jobs. You can't expect for nobody else to give you anything in this world. You got to get it yourself.
I wish I had my tambourine and my plate. It's Sunday too. Man, that was powerful. And I'm so glad that you were able to move from, because you give advice to everybody else. That's your job, is to help people through their pain points, through their struggles. But then you have to take the information that you're giving them and apply it to yourself.
Yes. And
you were able to do it.
It took a minute, though. I ain't gonna lie to you, because at first, I would take a couple steps forward and fall back. I'll take a couple steps forward and fall back, because you got to create a pattern, and it's all about the unlearning. We have things embedded inside of us based off of what we've always done. And so change is uncomfortable. And so you start moving and it start feeling too uncomfortable. So you go back and be like, let me go and sit on Indian style right here. It was comfortable over here.
Right.
Chips.
Amen. Let's go get this soda real quick.
Yes.
I need a couple timeouts.
And it's absolutely okay. And so what I've learned over the years is balance. You know what I'm saying? Like, this discovery happened with me when my son was 4 months. He's 10. Now he'll be 11 this year. And so every year and every day, this is also where I came up with dope, because I had to do it on purpose every day. I get up every day and make sure that my body is clean and make sure that I'm ready to walk out into this world. But then I didn't make sure that my mind was okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I say that our bodies are like cars, you know, so it's like we can't make sure we got a good paint job and the rims is good, but then our transmission is slipping because we look good and still not be going nowhere.
In the driveway with the music on.
In the driveway, fine as wine. Ain't doing nothing, going nowhere.
Now, you said you should gas yourself up.
Yes.
That you should until you're full and you don't have to worry about getting nothing from nobody else. Like, why is it important to put yourself above anybody else? And do you think people are intentionally putting themselves on the back burner or not? Do you think it's subconscious?
Well, and a lot of times it's subconscious and it's a learned behavior. You know what I'm saying? Because like working with a lot of people, I ask them, who taught you to put yourself on the back burner? And they come out with the stories of that intergenerational stuff. Well, my grandmama always did. My mama always did. My auntie always did. My daddy always did. They always took care of everybody else. But then you looking at these folks and they all broken down and bitter because they ain't got nobody to help them because they done taught everybody that they don't need nobody. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, no, you have to understand, you gas yourself up. Part of being mentally well is being able to make sure that you are good. You are being able to stand in your spaces. What can I do here? What am I able to make happen? You know, and then me making sure I'm okay. And then I can give to you with my overflow. Yeah. You know, because there's so many people that are out here, and I used to be one of them, that was giving. And then when it was time for me to give to myself, my glass is empty. I'm like, it ain't nothing in here but dust. I'm going down the sides trying to get myself something, and I ain't got nothing else to give. You know, and so that's the reason why it's important for us to make sure you tell yourself what you need to tell yourself. You gas yourself up. You speak life into yourself. You have to make sure that you do that on an everyday basis. Make sure that you are mentally well. And then you give to people with your overflow. That's what you have to do. Give them to them. Give the extra with the salsa, because what's on the salsa is still going to be powerful because what's in the cup is good.
Yeah. And you won't be mad or bitter because you done fed yourself first.
Yes. Yeah,
you know,
I was gonna say, just because a lot of people get mad because they did all this stuff for folks, and now I'm upset because I did this for you and I did that for you and I did this for you, but when I needed you, you weren't there for me. Well, did you teach that person that you don't need nobody? You know, like that's the realest thing that we have to do. Understand that. You know, you teach people how to treat you flat out.
Yes, and I think that we do that every day not even knowing it, and showing other people, like you said, you're an intergenerational therapist, so we're showing the next generation how to do it as well.
Yes, you know? And sometimes you're healing forward and backwards.
Come on now, preach. I should have bought my tambourine today. Now, I got one too. Now I know all relationships are not meant to be saved. Some are just toxic and they need to be just ended, thrown away. But what are steps that we can mend broken relationships that actually can be salvaged?
You know, first we got a skill called FREE. FREE stands for forgive, release, embrace, and elevate. First and foremost, you have to forgive people for not being who you want or need them to be when you wanted them or needed them to be something. And, you know, that's the biggest thing, because we often hold people to our expectations and not their own. And so we
listen, I want to put a caveat right there. Their expectations, not ours. What do you mean by that? And I was always confused.
So their expectations is what they're capable of doing, what they have in their mind of what they can do. Because sometimes we are putting things on people and they don't even have the capacity to give it to us. They ain't got the skills, the tools, the experience, the know-how, the nothing. You know, we looking at people to build us whole houses and they ain't got nothing but a spork. And we want to make it happen.
Right. I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but you said that so many times in videos about don't hold people to your expectations, hold them to theirs. And I'm like, theirs? What do you mean? So
yes. So it's like, what are they capable of doing? Like, really, what can they do? And then once you see a person for who and what they are, you hold them to their expectations and not yours. You may realize that they can't reach what you were trying to get them to reach. They can't give you what it is that you need. Don't be mad. You ain't mad about it. I see you for who you are and I love you. But now I have to decide the role that I want you to play in my life.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the biggest thing. We often become victims in relationships and we blame the other people. But it's many a times that there was a whole lot of red flags. The whole wall could have been
And it's
red,
our fault.
you know, because we wanted them to be something else. And this goes into cognitive dissonance. I've talked about this before, where we want something to be something so bad that we can't see what actually is. We see what we want it to be, and then we're trying to reach something that's not even there to reach. You know what I'm saying? So we got these expectations of people that can't even happen. So we got to release ourselves from them unrealistic expectations. Embrace the story. What happened between y'all? Embrace it for what it was, what it is now. What it was, what happened, how did it impact me, how did it impact you? What it is now, how is it impacting us today? But what do we want it to look like going forward? Because what you create with that person, you create together. And so that's it. But you have to make sure that you are assertive in your communication. And that means that when you talk with that person and they speak with you, y'all are able to say what you mean and mean what you say and do it with love and compassion. And you're listening to hear and understand and not listening just for you to get your point out. You know, so if you're going to be aggressive, if you're going to be passive, like, it don't matter, I don't care, do whatever you want, but you know it's eating you up on the inside. Or if you're going to be passive aggressive, where you're not going to trip off of the big issue, the big elephant, but you're going to address the rug on the floor, you know, don't even, you know, just wait and come on back around when you can be assertive about it, you know, but be able to have those open conversations, you know, where I can respect you and you can respect me, but understand that we are different people. You know, and that's the biggest thing in relationships. We have to forgive, release, embrace, and then we can elevate to a higher level of living. And we can create a new normal together. Because what we create together. Keeping everybody else on the outside. This is our relationship.
Right. And when two people have conflict, why is it so hard for each of them to see the other person's point of view? Are we wired to just understand our own perspective?
Well, you know, like I said, we operate 90% from our subconscious and 10% from our conscious. And so 90% of the things that we do are based off of experiences we've already had. And so therefore, when we're presented with something, we're running it through the things that we've already been through. And so that's the paradigm, or that's the frame of reference that we have to see. And so sometimes it's really hard to see somebody else's point of view because we've never experienced that. So that's foreign to us. So it's like, what you mean? Like, you talking about chicken and I'm talking about corn. Like, we on two totally different pages here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why it's important for you to be assertive, for you to be able to say what you mean and mean what you say, but do it with love and compassion. And for you to be able to listen, close your mouth and open up your ears so that you can understand where somebody else is coming from, because they may be teaching you something totally new. So you got to be open to it.
Now that's a word right there. That is a word. Now, you said parents are always saying, fix my kids. But in the reality, you're like, no, I need to address you.
Holler at you. This is a parenting issue. Like, come on, man.
And you said one of the hardest things that you've ever had to do in your adult life is raise a teen daughter. How's that going, by the way?
Man, did you see my prayer on the other day? It's real in these streets, you know, but it goes back again to, we can only do what we know how to do. So 9 times out of 10, we're going to do the things that were done to us because it's out of habit and it's out of pattern, you know. And so my biggest thing is with I got a teenage daughter. My biggest thing is when something happens, I got to check myself before I check her. So I have to ask myself real quick, is this me? Am I tripping off of something that she did? Or am I tripping off of something that's happened in the past that I'm reacting to right now? You know, so it's like, really, does this emotion that I have really fit what's going on? Or is that age appropriate and teen appropriate right now? And she needs guidance in this situation. Because a lot of times we attack the things inside of our kids that trigger stuff inside of us that we haven't healed. If you think about it, you know, when your kids do something to you, you ask, when your kids do something, you know, am I disciplining you? Am I guiding you? Or am I punishing you because you done got under my skin? Which one is really happening here?
And in your assessment of you, what have you found to be true?
So oftentimes, because see, I have anxiety. My mother was a talker, but she was a get in your face, always yelling and screaming type of person. And so I was the person that would shut down. I would just freeze. And so because I would just freeze, I would take in what she was saying, but I would be somewhere else, just being honest. You know, I'm just singing songs in my head. I'm ready for her to stop because why you keep yelling at me? You know what I'm saying? And so I wasn't taking it in. And so now, like when something happens and if my daughter challenges something that I'm saying to her, if she's not listening to me, because I don't feel I was listened to when I was younger. So therefore, instead of me freezing now, because I'm not in that situation, I think to fight, you know, so I think to meet you there. And it's like, check yourself, Candice, come back, you know, dial down, because you're safe here. You ain't in this your kid. You know what I'm saying? You ain't in no harm's way, you know? So it's like, calm down and don't focus so much on how she's saying things. We got to check that sometime, but really focus on what's being said. You know, that's the biggest thing. We got to focus on what our kids are saying, because sometimes we are so set, and especially in a Black household, on respect and disrespect, that we don't recognize that we disrespecting our kids while we are asking for respect.
Amen.
So what are we really teaching them?
Oh yeah. Yes, ma'am. That's me.
That's being real. You know, that's being real. So it's like, for me, oftentimes I have to say, because I have anxiety, you know, and so it's like it starts coming up and I just tell her like, hey, you know what? I need to tap out. Yes, these teens are crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they a whole breed of their own. And so I have to tap out and come back and then have the conversation when I can. I do a lot of breathing. You know, it's a lot of times I'll be like, you know what? Stop right now. Gone on. And then come back. We'll talk about this later. And she may be like, but I won't. Ma'am, don't say another word. Not another one. Not right now. I don't care if you have to cover your own mouth and walk out of my room, but that's what needs to happen, because I can't keep hearing you in this moment. You know, but I will come back around to it when I'm ready to deal with it in a space, again, assertively, where I can talk to you with love and compassion, where I'm not coming at you aggressively. You know, because in some situations, we don't need to be aggressive, but we just are. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we don't have to do that, because really we're teaching them how to interact as well. You can have healthy conflict. You can.
Yeah. That is so true. No, that is so true. I mean, I don't have any kids, but my mom, I'm the oldest, and my mom made me first sergeant. Yes. And I didn't ask to do that, but she made me do that because she needed to have her other kids in check when she was at work. So they were yes ma'am and me, just like her, and I expected it, you know what I mean? So I had to evolve as well. I think I was 13 when my mom came. I was saying something to my sibling, and she's like, Quencie, listen to yourself. And I was like, oh. But I'm like, you the one who told me. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to do some self-reflection.
Yes.
But I mean, because they have to respect my word and listen to me, because I had to be over them when she was gone, you know.
Yes. And we have to make sure that if there are punishments, we got to make sure the punishments fit the crime. You know what I mean? We have to make sure that when we're disciplining our kids, we're disciplining them so that we can correct the behavior, and not because they got under our skin.
Right. Exactly. But how do we actually grow beyond our raising and unlearn those things? I mean, I feel like you in a special place, because you went to school to do this for other people, but just what are some things that other people can do to grow beyond their raising?
Like, you really sit down and go back to what happened to me. Sit back. What is it that I got from my childhood and the way that I was raised? What are the things that I like that I want to move forward and I want to instill in my children? And what are the things, that I didn't and that I don't want to repeat? You know, but then also, what are the triggers that pull those things up inside of me? You know, because there are certain times that there are certain things, like I said, I have anxiety. And my daughter, she 15. So she like, Mama, can I go here? And we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. Ma'am, dial it back. Yeah. You know, you didn't even ask, you know. And then, well, why can't I do it? So it's constant, and it makes my anxiety rise. You know, and so it's like, you know, my mother had anxiety as well. My anxiety would trigger her anxiety, and she would flip out. You know, and so here it is. My daughter's anxiety triggers my anxiety, and I'll be ready to flip out. You know, but then I have to recognize when I feel it coming up inside of me.
Breathe.
Take a breath, Candice. You know, you got to take a breath. And if I can, and I say 717, breathe in 7, hold it 1, let it out 7. You know, so a lot of times while she's talking to me, I'm breathing and I'm telling myself, listen.
Yeah.
I'm telling myself, you know, get past the other stuff, like really focusing on what's being said. What does she need here?
Yeah.
You know, opposed to what do I want to give her? You know, what does she need here in this moment? But it's really, really studying what happened to you, you know, so that you can see those things, because patterns will repeat themselves until you disrupt the pattern. So as long as you don't, that's why you open your mouth and you hear your mama come out and be like, where'd she come from? You know what I mean? But that's because that's embedded inside of you. You can only do what you know how to do until you learn how to do something different.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You recently, your daughter wanted to spend a night over a friend's house that she never spent a night at, and you went, you got names, you said, let me feel the vibe. Can you talk about why it's important that you didn't care about her feelings in that regard, because she's your most prized possession?
Yes.
And that you have to be her parent and not her friend.
Definitely. And just like Motor City Mama just said, you know, these kids, you know, they don't know what we don't know. You know, they don't know what we do know, and that's real. And so it's like, you know, I'm doing this to protect you, because how bad would it be if I just let you run over there? I found out that the house you were staying at, they had a college son. You know what I mean? That was home. You know, where is he sleeping? You know, where are these girls sleeping? Like, what is going on here? How is this going down? I need to know, because let me not say something and something happened to my baby, and it's because I didn't take the time. I didn't take the time to go meet the father, to meet his girlfriend, to meet the son, to meet the other sister in the house, to walk through the house, to feel what was happening in that house. If I didn't take the time to, it would be on my conscience if something happened to my baby. She gone now, same house, and she upset because I'm like, your location needs to be on the whole time that you were gone, ma'am. Well, mama, everybody else location, I don't care about everybody else. But there should never be a time that I don't know where you are, ma'am. Flat out.
Not at 15.
And if you're not okay with that, then you can stay home. I'm barbecuing. We can eat here at the house today. Enjoy.
Yeah. I love it. Now, I was so shocked to find this TikTok video. Father's Day is next month. Okay. And Candy, she said, how do you know? What did you say? You said, tell me your father has a bunch of kids without telling me your father had a bunch of kids.
Yes.
Okay, you guys out there listening, she has a bunch of siblings, and she went on the internet, reunited with them on the Ricky Lake Show. The Ricky Lake Show. For those of y'all who ain't old enough, Ricky Lake is the old school daytime, you know, talk show that we all watch. Ricky. Yes. How did talk about that, and why was it important to you to meet your siblings from your father?
So I grew up as the only child. I'm my mother's only child. And so I only knew about 2 brothers on my daddy's side. Come to find out, I'm the oldest of 9. You know what I'm saying? And so it was 6 when I found everybody. But like my dad, I knew him. I saw him from 0 to 3, and then I didn't see him much from 3 until he showed up at my actually I didn't see him again from 3 until he showed up at my house the day of my graduation, when I graduated from high school. And I was like, hey, man, that looked like me. Like, hey, sir, you know? And so at that point in time, like, he told me about some other siblings that I had. And so he was able to give me names and able to give me their parents' names. So like, it's this US search finder or something like that was out back then. So like, I got to work looking up, you know, parents, going to the like old high school friends and things like that, trying to locate my siblings. And then I wrote Ricky Lake, I wrote Maury, and I wrote Oprah. So Oprah ain't never respond back. But Maury wanted us to come on, but he wanted me to bring my daddy. And I was like, my brother's probably going to fight my daddy, so we're going to make that happen. And then, you know, Ricky Lake was willing to bring us all out. And so, you know, she brought us all out. We were able to meet each other. And so we are all close now to this day. We do sibling Sundays. You know, and now I got three little siblings that my daddy and I was having kids at the same time. So I got siblings that's the same age as my children. And so, you know, but we all, you know, still talk to each other, because it's important to know where you came from and to know who you out here sharing roots with. Like, I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta, and when I was in college, my sorority sisters went up to Michigan State for a party. My brother was at the party in Michigan State. I didn't end up going, but had I gone, I
Wow.
would have been up there with my brother who's only 3 months younger than me. You know what I'm saying? What if I would have ended up hollering at my brother? You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
what Chili. I remember Chili from TLC said the same thing. She's like, "Look how fine my brother is. I would have been hollering at him."
You heard? Would have been like, "Hey," and then talk about who's your daddy, and be like, "Hold on, wait, whoa,
Oh.
hold on." You know, then it's too late. Be writing that strawberry letter to Steve Harvey like, "Oh, you know, nobody got time for that."
Well, I mean, what has it been like since you grew up as an only child to now be surrounded by so many siblings?
It's so dope. You know, my brother, the one that's right under me, is my Irish twin, and we, you know, our businesses, because he's an entrepreneur as well. Like we've done those things because of each other. You know, like he designed my first website. He designed my first characters. He did my first children book, the illustrations for my first children book. Nice. And then from there, I was like, hey, if you're doing this for me, you can do it for other folks. So I started referring folks to him. He had a whole job. He was like, Candice, this ain't what I do. I was like, why not?
Why not?
You know, and so now he has DG Self-Publishing, and he's published hundreds of African-American children's books.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, to know people that share a part of you, you know, to have people that think like you know, and so like that's just a beautiful thing, because they have different components of my daddy that I share and some that I don't, but all of it is a part of me, and I'm a part of them. So I tell them all the time, like, I'm the oldest, and they be like, you know, well, Candice, you know, you doing all this stuff. I'm like, I'm setting the role, because if I can do it, you can do it too. So come on.
Come on now.
Right. We're going to be, instead of being, we're going to be the Tobers. That's my daddy's name. We're going to be the Tobers instead of the Jacksons. Come on. We're going to make it
Well, you know, you got to thank your daddy for telling you who they were. So he did gift you with that life and a bunch of siblings that now are your family. Like, you know them now.
Yes. I have met everybody now. Just last year, I got to meet the last one that I hadn't met. I found him when he was 5, but I hadn't seen him, you know, yet, because different things were happening, and, you know, he was 5. And so now he's an adult. He has his own little family, and I got a chance to meet him and his family last year.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Now, this topic really struck me. Loyalty.
Yes.
I have sometimes been loyal to a fault, but watching your videos, I learned a new perspective, which was that you don't have to be loyal to anyone, regardless of the role that they play in your life. So is there a difference between toxic loyalty and just regular old loyalty, or are they the same thing?
Well, toxic loyalty is when you loyal to people just because of the role they play. They can hurt you. They can they can treat you like dog trash, talk bad about you to you and everything else. And you be like, but that's my mama. I got to. Well, that's my uncle. I got to. That's my baby daddy. I got to. Well, no, because if the relationship hurts you, why are you going to keep hurting yourself on purpose when you know that hurts you? Gotcha. You know, and so it's like, you know, and then loyalty, how often are we loyal to people that aren't even loyal to themselves, but we give them all of our loyalty? We have to be loyal to us. And sometimes being loyal to us means saying no. And that's absolutely okay, because sometimes people will request things from you that they're not even willing to do for themselves.
Preach.
Like, you know, you just got to be real. So, and that just goes back to seeing people for who and what they are. And it's like, I see you for who you are. I see you for what you are. I see you for what you're able to do, but I can't meet you there. You know, and so if it hurts you, you have to figure out what that looks like for you. Because I say, once you see it, then if you continue on down that path, you have to ask yourself, why is it okay for me to hurt myself on purpose?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just being honest. Yeah.
No. So, yeah, you cleared it up. And I remember you said also, you know, in a video, like, if I call you and I'm telling you about the same thing somebody else then did, you're not going to be mad with me about them. You're gonna be mad at me because why am I still hanging around telling you the same story? Can you expand on that?
So I done had a many of folks, you know what I'm saying, that they come to me, and these friends, or, you know, even with my clients, because I am who I am. I don't change just because I go into a session. I'm who I am. And so, you know, I have a client come to me and they telling me the same thing that their boyfriend did, or their girlfriend did, or their husband, wife, or whoever. You know, my mama stole money out of my account again, but yet you still have the same PIN number on your debit card. Like, make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? You still give her access to your account. Like, why are you? I ain't mad at her for taking your money. I'm mad at you for giving her access. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not mad at them. And it's hard sometimes, you know, because domestic violence and different things like that is real. But it's like, I'm not mad at them for continuing to treat you the way that they have shown you that they are going to treat you. Patterns don't lie, but people do. I am, and not even upset. I just want you to open your eyes to see what you're dealing with so you can make a choice. It ain't on them. It's on you.
It's on you.
Because it's only three things. You can't change other people. You can only change yourself, the level of access that you give them to you, and how you respond to what they do. Other than that, you can't change anything else. So I just want people to be focused on what you can do. Don't tell me what they're doing. Tell me what you're doing about it.
Yes. I think that's when you make progress.
Yes, that's when you make progress, because that's it. You know, that's the biggest thing. You know, because people are going to do what they're set up to do. Like, even people talk about it all the time. They be like, you know, with my ex-husband, I love him. I will love him forever. I will. He will love me. I know this. But at some point, I had to realize that I was no longer interested in the level of life that he had to offer me or himself. So I had to make a decision. Am I going to be mad at you because the level of life you're offering me? Or am I going to recognize that this is your ceiling and that I'm going to do something different about it?
Come on,
something had to change.
Something had to change, and that something had to be you changing.
It had to be me changing. I had to love me first. I couldn't wait for you to love me enough to love yourself. That's crazy. You got to love you first.
Right. And boundaries. Like, why is it so difficult for us to set boundaries, and also difficult for others people to honor them? Like, what is that about?
Well, one of the things is we don't respect the boundaries that we set. That goes back to that whole no thing. We be like, I ain't gonna do this. You be on the phone talking to somebody, girl, let them call me. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't this and I ain't that. Then the phone ring, girl, hold on. I gotta go pick Patrick up from work. Hold on. I'll be right back. But I thought you said he had what? You know, but that's the thing. You don't respect the boundaries that you put in place for yourself. And you can't expect other people to respect your boundaries if you don't, because you teach people how to treat you.
Come on now.
So because of that, you have to make sure that you got, if it doesn't feel good, stop allowing it. You know, there was something that, you know, a woman told me, I love her to life, you know, when I was going through my divorce, and I was torn, you know, because of the toxic loyalty. And I was like, you know, and me and my ex got a trauma bond. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know, maybe, you know, I'm supposed to work it out. Maybe I'm supposed to for the kids. You know, this is where I was. And she told me, she said, baby, friend, family, or foe, if it disturbs your peace, it has to go. And I was like, you know what? Yes, ma'am. That is the truth. And, you know, and I live by that. You know, I live by that, because why should you have to be unhappy or uncomfortable just for somebody else to be okay? Make it make sense. And then would they do the same for you? Possibly no. 9 times out of 10, no. So go back to, when you talk about boundaries, you go back to loyalty. Am I being disloyal to myself just to be loyal to somebody else? Am I walking over my own boundaries and what makes me feel comfortable just for somebody else? And if I am, who taught me that? One, and then why do I feel like that's okay? Because it's not.
It's not. It's not. Now, you mentioned trauma bonds. Tell us what trauma bonds are, what are trauma responses, and how can we identify them and unlearn them?
Definitely. And so here we go. I married my mama and my daddy in the same relationship. How about that? You know, and so the things that my mama did that were traumatic, the yelling, the miscommunication, the verbal abuse, just the saying the meanest things, you know what I'm saying? But her telling me that I'm all you got because she was my mama. You know what I'm saying? So you would treat me like dog trash, but then be like, you ain't got nobody but me. I'm it. That's it. So it's like, you know, you start loving the person that's hurting you and you think that that's okay. You know what I'm saying? You think that that's what like love looks like. My mother taught me that love hurts and that it's inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? And so, and then my daddy was inconsistent as well. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like I married this person who is inconsistent and who shows me that love hurts, never physically, but in the things that you do verbally, mentally, emotionally, those things that you do. And I was bonded to it because that's what I grew up with. That's what I knew. So in my mind, this is what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to struggle in love, you know? And so it's like, it was hard for me to break that. and unlearn that. But I had to understand that's where it comes from, with happiness and peace being inside job. Because when you value you, when you love you, when there's a level that you won't go past, you won't tolerate anybody else doing that to you. You won't allow other people to hurt you. You won't be a victim of other people's poor choices, nor will you be a victim of your own. And it's hard. It's hard to do it because you're so used to it. You got to get rid of everything that you learned or that you saw was right and go with what feels right. If this don't feel good, why don't it feel good? And what can I do about it?
And is that the measure? Is that the ultimate measure, what it feels like for you?
Yes, like the ultimate measure. Like if you talking to me, if I'm pulling up outside my house and I don't want to come in because I'm nervous about the interaction that we getting ready to have on the inside, that's a problem. If I'm walking on eggshells and I can't fully be myself, if you're in a relationship with somebody, you should wholeheartedly be able to be yourself. If you sit on the couch and you pick your toes, whoever it is that's with you should love you, even if you sitting on the couch in front of them picking your toes. If you feel like you got to hide who you are to be with somebody, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
If you can't speak your piece respectfully, if you can't say how you feel and be heard, that's a problem. That's a problem. And so that's it. Love shouldn't be scary. You shouldn't be scared to express yourself. You shouldn't be scared to be you. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't hurt you. It shouldn't. And if love is hurting you, if the goods or not outweighing the bads, you really got to sit back and ask yourself, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yes, because as I always say, patterns don't lie, people do. And oftentimes people can tell you I won't do it. People can tell you it won't never happen again. They can tell you whatever it is, but until they have addressed those patterns, they're going to keep on doing it when they present it with something that looks the same, which means that you're going to keep on enduring the same thing over and over. And why is that okay for either one of y'all? You know, but they may not know what to do about it. But if you do, you're going to have to do it. You know, some people don't get to, and they, you know, they're saying that some people don't get to go with you. I say some people don't get to grow with you, and that's absolutely okay.
Yeah. But what about people who are like just people pleasers and they don't,
you know, a trauma response.
Tell me.
So being a people pleaser is a trauma response. It's called fawning. And so, you know, when you're traumatized or you've been traumatized, there's 4 things. There's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. We are all very familiar with the fight. We are familiar with the fuss and cussing, you know, going at that whole, like I say, duck if you buck in your soul. We familiar with it.
We watch Love and Hip Hop.
You know what I mean? Right. You know, and then we're familiar with the flee too, where we try to sleep it away, drink it away, smoke it away, sex it away. You know, we familiar with that because I won't deal with this. Even the freeze, where I check out and I'm physically here, but I'm on autopilot. You know what I'm saying? Right. But the fawning, that part right there, that fawning is when you want to mitigate the impact of the trauma. You know what I'm saying? So therefore you are like, I'll do it. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I got it, girl. And so you doing all of this to try to control what's happening. That's really what it is. You trying to control it so that if I'm doing it and I'm in it, then I can know and be aware of what's happening. But at the end of the day, it's exhausting. You hurting you at the end of the day. And that's not fair to you. That's not fair to you. Don't put more of yourself out than you can. Don't overextend yourself. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Only people that you gotta overextend yourself for are your minor children, because you are responsible for them.
Right.
But that's it. Grown folks gotta be grown. If you can do it, they can do it too.
Yes. And as you say, you can't grow for other people.
You cannot grow for other people. You can only grow for yourself. You can't, and you can't love somebody to the point where they love themselves. You can't do it. Like you can't. It's an inside job, not only for you but for them as well.
Yes. And you said, you said throughout this whole time, patterns don't lie, people do. So can we talk about apologies mean nothing without change behavior? How can we prevent being the victim of people's poor choices?
Yes, because, well, you got to think, don't just listen to the words that come out of folks' mouth, because we do that real quick. You know, somebody be like, I'm sorry. Just think about it. You know, just being 100, this could be a trigger for somebody, but you in a relationship and somebody cheated on you and they come back and be like, I'm sorry, it ain't never going to happen again. It was a one-time thing. I love you. Yeah, but if they haven't dealt with whatever it was that made them go seek something outside of you, the next time that whatever it is comes up, when they're not getting their needs met, they don't feel like they're loved enough, they don't feel like they're getting enough attention or whatever it may be, then they're going to go do the exact same thing because that's a pattern. They're going to repeat what they do in those situations until they replace that behavior with something else. So if you don't do the work to acknowledge what made you do that, why, how did you get to that point, what caused that, why was that your choice of things to do, and what's something different you can do in that place, you're gonna do the exact same thing.
Yes.
So it's like, I'm not gonna knock you. I just recognize if you ain't did the work, baby, I can't be a victim of your poor choices, because you may not even realize that you're gonna do it again, but you are.
Yes. Oh my goodness. She say that. And we can always notice their patterns if we just sit back and watch, correct?
Sit back and watch. You just gotta look. That's it. Don't be so willing to see what you want to see. Don't be so willing to see things the way you want them to be. See it for what it actually is. And when you see it for what it actually is, then you can be like, boom, that's it. Ooh, that's it. Ooh, that's it. I can see it. And and another thing is this: stop expecting loyalty from somebody that's not loyal to themselves. Stop expecting honesty from somebody that lies to themselves. Stop expecting consistency from someone that's not consistent with themselves. If the pattern may be that they can't give it to themselves, but you want them to give it to you. Right. That's unrealistic.
Yeah. And why do we do that? Why do we put such unrealistic expectations on people when you can see that they're not, doing it in their own lives,
Because we see people through our points of view.
Gotcha.
And so we see people through our lived experiences. So we feel like if I'm this old and I'm doing this, then you should be doing it too. But there were some things that happened in my life that got me to here. You know what I'm saying? But there are some things that you went through or you didn't go through that got you here. You know, and we look at like trauma is real. And so when you look at, I do a lot of work with adverse childhood experiences, like these things that happen to us before we even turn 18 years old. Yeah. And so, if you've dealt with emotional abuse, then I'm going to be more guarded. If you've dealt with physical abuse, I'm going to be more hypervigilant and be more on go ready. So now I ain't going to trust you because the people in my life failed me. If I've dealt with abandonment, when I was little, then I may be a little more clingy in this relationship because I know what it feels like to lose somebody and be alone. You know what I mean? So it's like I have these different things that have come up inside of me based off of what has happened to me. And so I put those things on other people, but we can't personalize other people's experiences. They're theirs.
Yes, that's so important. I think so, because we see it through our own lens, and people don't, people don't know what you think, and they know their life. They don't know.
That's it. And I can try to apply my life to yours, but it may not work. Again, I got a spork. And that sport may have been working for me, but you need a whole power drill for your life. Right. But I'm going to give you my sport. I'm going to give you, and I'm going to work hard with my sport, but you don't get mad at me because I done gave you all I got to give, and it ain't what you needed.
It's not even touching the surface.
It ain't even touching it, but that's because this is all I have to give. Yes. Which means that I either may not be the person for this situation, or I may not be the person for that role. And you got to decide if you're going to put that person in that role or not.
What about people who don't address things? They put it on the shelf. They put it on the shelf. They put it on the shelf until they 40, 45, and they open up the closet and all these things fall out. Because you said if you don't address the things in your past, it will spill over into your adulthood.
Yeah, it always comes back around. It always comes back around. It does, and that's the thing. That's why we got folks out here. I'm from St. Louis. We got folks out here in their 60s in the middle of the street fighting. Ma'am and sir, I'm gonna need y'all to get that together. But that's what they've been doing all these years. Yeah. I'm hyper vigilant, and I'm gonna get you before you get me. You know what I mean? That's the mindset that I got because that's where I come from. Well, no, baby. Why do you think that way? Where did that come from? What happened? You have to address it because it's like a volcano. You can keep stuffing it and stuffing it and stuffing it and stuffing it, but eventually a volcano is going to erupt and it's going to destroy everything in its path. And that's what happens to you too. But also when we deal with trauma and stress, it's physiological as well as psychological. So you deal with those things psychologically, but you got to think about you may have put that stuff on the shelf and wasn't going to deal with it, but why you can't get your blood pressure down? Why your cholesterol so high? Why you can't lose weight? Why your mind always racing and you can't go to sleep? You know, why you can't focus and get stuff done? You know, why? Because I
Yes.
got all this stuff that I ain't dealt with. And just because it doesn't go away, it just goes to different parts of my body. And that's it until I deal with it. So it's better to process and purge than it is, because we know what it feels like to hurt and hold on. We deserve to know what it feels like to heal and move forward.
Yes, love that. Love that. Now, I've got a few sentences that I would like Candy to finish before I get to my Studio Q lightning round. So I'm going to start these sentences, and then I want you to finish it and anything else you feel you want to say with it.
Okay.
All right? Okay. Stop being mad
at other people for what happened to you. Look at what it is what's your role in your space in the situation, and then you move forward. Don't get mad at people for being who they are. Just recognize it and stop giving them access to you if you have to discontinue it.
Amen. Don't judge other people for...
Don't judge other people for their struggle, because their struggle is not your own. Don't decide, don't look at them and knock them for what they've been through, because your story ain't peaches and cream. Everybody got a story to tell. So Amen. Don't forget where you came from.
Mm-hmm. Some relations have to
end. Some relationships have to end or change because you don't like who you have to be to maintain those relationships, and it's absolutely okay.
Mm-hmm. Don't give people more
access to you than you can handle. Mm-hmm.
Flat out. 90% of the way we operate
is from our subconscious brain, and 10% is from our conscious. So remember that. Check yourself before you check somebody else. Where did this come from, and why am I responding the way that I'm responding?
You can't heal
other people, but you can heal yourself. Happiness and peace and healing are inside jobs. So please get to work and do overtime.
Come on now. What Cat Williams said in his special, it's called self-esteem.
Yes.
That's yourself.
Yes. It ain't called others' esteem, it's self-esteem.
Stop expecting people
to give you everything that you need. It's an inside job. And stop expecting people to give you what they don't have to give. It may be beyond their capacity. So you need to see that.
Yes. No matter how dope you are, two things. One, somebody out there is always doper. So don't get on a high horse. Be you. Yes, I love it.
And two, remember that you can always be better. So make sure that you do you and show up as you on purpose every day, because everybody else is taken.
You can't grow
and heal for other people. You can only do it for yourself.
People can only change
when they are ready to. That's it. You can't make people change, and you don't want them to change for you, because if they change for you, baby, the revert is real.
Speak on that a little bit. The revert is real. What you mean?
Because they'll go back. They will go back to who they used to be. They're gonna go back because this wasn't what I wanted to do. And then they may get angry with you because you made me do this.
Resentful on top of it. Mm-hmm. So this is my Candy Studio Q lightning round, which is, rapid fire questions. Mm-hmm. So early mornings or late nights?
Late nights.
Favorite pair of socks that your daughter borrowed?
Yeah, so it's my I got some Christmas socks. They real soft and cushy. Mm-hmm. Red and white.
St. Louis, Missouri or Little Rock, Arkansas?
St. Louis, STL, even though both of them hold a place in my heart, both good and bad.
Now, did air hugs and cyber kisses come because of the pandemic or because you mean deuces to somebody?
It came because of my ex-husband, because he was talking crazy, and I had to tell him, bruh, air hugs and cyber kisses, get off my phone.
Wow, the origins of things. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. That's from the pandemic. 6 feet, social distancing.
And, it comes from, I can love you from a distance. I can love you from afar. I don't have to have you in my space. It's me creating them boundaries around me. I can still love you, but I ain't gotta have you in my space. Air hugs and cyber kisses.
I love it. You know you need a shirt that say that, right?
That's what somebody said. I'm gonna get one made.
Please do. Please, and sell them on
Definitely.
TikTok. That's a whole nother revenue stream. Something that you do that brings you joy or peace immediately.
I light incense, and I turn on Alexa, India Ari radio.
Nice. Nice. I love NDRE. Favorite age group to work with?
Young adults. That 18 to 25, I love them. Everybody say I'm crazy. I love them to life. Go ahead.
I love that. I love that. Those they the future. So I'm glad
really
that you
are. And their brain's not developed yet. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you know enough of what you've been through. You know what I'm saying? But you also recognize that you ain't got it all. So come on, let's do some work here.
Yes. Oh, I know they happy to get you. Best advice you ever got?
Friend, family, or foe. If it disturbs your peace, it has to go.
It has to go. I love that. Favorite place to eat in St. Louis?
Ooh, favorite place to eat in St. Louis. Honestly, I love London and Son Swing House. Just being honest.
Okay. I'm just saying. So whenever I'm in St. Louis, I want to be able to check it out.
Yes, and Chinese. St. Louis in my life, I've been around, and St. Louis has the best Chinese. I believe we do.
Nice.
So, yes.
Okay. All right. The first sentence that comes to mind when I say the following words: depression.
Everybody goes through depression at some point in their lives. Don't be ashamed of it.
Black women.
Black women, strong doesn't mean that you don't cry.
Therapy.
Therapy is dope. Do it on purpose every day, whether it's with yourself or with a professional. Make sure you're addressing your mental health.
Yes. Mental health.
Mental health is dope. And there's nothing to be ashamed of.
Accountability.
You have to be accountable for yourself. You have to. Don't blame other people for what you're doing in your life.
Yes. Reset.
Reset. Remember, every situation encourages thought. Yes.
Chaos.
Chaos. Keep healing and overcoming struggles.
Fear.
Fear is false evidence appearing real.
Raw.
Raw. Realize, admit, and work through.
What's the word for today?
The word for the day is intentional.
Intentional.
Yes. Do it. Do it on purpose. Do it for a reason.
If you ran into your high school guidance counselor who told you that you should go to a community college because she didn't think you would make it at a university, would you say something to her or not?
Definitely. And I got a chance to. I sure did. I got a client at my old high school back in the day when I first became a therapist. And I went to her office first. I sure did. And I asked her, I said, do you remember me? She was like, oh, yes. How are you doing? I was like, And I told her, I said, BSW, MSW, LCSW. That's how I'm doing. Because you told me that I needed to go to a community college. And if I would have listened to you, there are so many lives that I have impacted along the way. So if nothing else, I want you to know, please don't say nothing like that because your words do have power. Because I didn't apply to the school that I wanted to go to because she told me that I needed to go to a community college.
What was her reaction?
She was like, I don't remember saying that, but I'm so sorry. I said, you did. You did. You said it in this office. You sure did. You did. And I don't know if you said it to me because I was a little Black girl from a single parent household. You know, I don't know because my grades reflected that I could go to college. You know, I don't know what it was, but please be mindful of what you say to the kids that come to your office for guidance because I'm a first generation college student.
Wow. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yes. And can you tell everybody where they can find you, connect with you? Because you have your own everything. Like, she didn't ask for a seat at the table. She wouldn't build her own. Okay.
I had to build my own. The reason why I built my own is because I was working at a nonprofit organization and one of my kids got hurt. And when one of the kids got hurt, the executive director, basically, I had to hotline the company. And the executive director sat in on the hotline investigation with me and offered the lady my job. It was a form of intimidation. And I was like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing here. Oh, okay. So therefore, I believe that it's about that when we're talking about mental health and mental wellness, it's about quality of care and not quantity of care. So I created my own. I created
Yes.
my own. So therefore, our people gonna get the help that we supposed to have out here in these streets, and from somebody that look like them. And
Amen.
that's not gonna judge them for being who they are. We just gonna help. That's all we gonna do. Because who am I to judge you just because you struggle differently than I do?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so so if you want to, you can find me on Instagram, Candy Cox. That's CANDICOX 220. That's the same for TikTok, CANDICOX 220. Also, you can find my company on Instagram at Chaos Mindset. That's KHAOSMINDSET. And you can also find us on our website, which is www.khaosinc.org. And if you're looking for a consultation, or if you're in St. Louis or in Missouri for therapy, if you are outside of Missouri, you want therapeutic coaching or something of that nature, if you go and see me on TikTok, if you click on the link, then that allows you to set up an appointment with me and we can start healing and growing together, or somebody from my company, because I do have a for-profit as well, which is A&A Inspirations, and we provide individual, family, and group counseling and coaching.
And virtual, right?
Yes, we do virtual and in person, definitely. Yes.
Yes, I'm like, somebody from Germany might want to connect with you.
Definitely true. And we also do, I do motivational speaking. I do trainings. And that's one thing that COVID has really opened up, where I've done trainings in different countries, in the Philippines and things like that, helping educators and helping parents and things deal with, intergenerational trauma and stuff like that. So it's like, if there's a screen and you want me, hey, let's heal and grow together.
I love it. And I saw that you had added, because of COVID, like first responders. Yeah. So
yes, definitely.
What made you do that?
So actually, I wrote a program called Chaos Cops, which stands for Keep Healing and Overcoming Struggles to Keep Our Peace, KOP. And so that was, I actually lived 2 streets up from Canfield when Mike Brown was killed.
Oh,
and
wow.
So I recognized that, and I did my research, that police officers only get one psychological evaluation the whole time that they're on the force, unless they discharge their weapon. And so I'm like, so you telling me you got these police officers that are seeing all this stuff and they ain't dealing with it? And then I'm like, you got firefighters that's pulling people out of buildings and they ain't dealing with it. You got people that, you got first responders that are dealing with people that are dying and they're seeing the most horrific things and they're not dealing with it. And so, creating a space for them to know that it's okay not to be okay. But once you recognize you're not okay, it's on you to do something about it. And the community should not have to be a victim of your poor choices just because you're not mentally well.
Amen. Thank God for Candice. She didn't include it. She didn't include the cops. We might be pulled over by a cop that was helped by you, and we might have a different experience because of that. So thank you for helping out the community in such profound ways. Is there any last words that you want to share with everybody? I really thank everybody for joining. Forgive me for just focusing on Candy, but I just be like laser focused. But I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring you. I see all your comments. I appreciate you engaging, and she's absolutely wonderful. I think you even connected with somebody who commented. So thank you for that, Candy. But any last words or anything that you want people to know or anything?
I just want to end with a chaos affirmation that I wrote because it helps me, and I say it to myself daily, so maybe it'll help somebody else. So here you go. My story is my story because it makes me who I am. I'm never ashamed of what I've been through. I'm now doing the best I can. My feelings are my feelings, even when it's a burden to hold. There is nothing wrong with saying it's hard to carry the load. I reset now to remember every situation encourages thought. When I realize, admit, and work through my issues, I can get raw. I embrace my whole truth as I break free. Forgive, release, embrace, and elevate over any dis-ease. One day at a time, no shame on the days I feel troubled. Working hard every day to keep healing and overcoming struggles. You got this.
Come on
now.
So much. Come on now, Candy. Keep dropping the mic. And I promise you, in my notes, I said, at the end of my notes, I said, I would like Candy to close with her favorite affirmation. And then you just did it. Tell me the spirit ain't working today.
Everything happens as it should. There we go. From my heart to yours. Definitely. Definitely.
Thank you so much. This meant everything to me because all of your videos on TikTok has not just resonated with me, but resonated with so many. So I just wanted to have my own personal Candy moment.
Thank you. From my heart to yours. Dope women know dope women, and we come together to do dope things.
Come on now. I don't know anywhere better the way to end than that right there. Have an amazing weekend. Eat some good food, and I look for more of your videos on TikTok.
Thank you so much. You guys have an amazing day. Bye bye.
See you later. Bye bye.
Studio Q Show. Now you know.